Sparky Coach podcast. Crow Doggy Dog here with the self-appointed and self-anointed sexiest man in the electrical industry. Now, it wasn't until I physically saw you in real life at our live event where I was like, you look good on Zoom, but you looked great in person. I got to admit, movie star quality looks, really broad shoulders. I was a little bit intimidated.
Yeah, too
But here we
kind.
are. Here
I
we
don't know
are. Hey,
about
Billy Lawrence from
I
Lawrence
don't know
Electric.
about self-appointed, self-anointed, but yeah, thanks for that.
Someone's anointed you,
Yeah,
so maybe the Holy Spirit of the trade gods. So Billy from Lawrence Electrical, how are you?
I'm well. I'm looking forward to the end of the year. I'm looking forward to a couple of weeks off. We've penciled in, 2 decent weeks off this year. So it's been a big year. Been grinding pretty hard. But yeah, we're looking for a break for sure.
And what is so to timestamp this is December 9, so this will probably come out post Chrissy, I would say Jan, something like early Jan. What's your encouragement to yourself? Because how long have you been operating for now?
August was 3 years, so
Cool. So
three and a half years.
so this would be, you've seen a couple of December Januaries.
Yeah.
The first one you normally cook like pretty. So what's
Yeah.
your learnings coming into December Jan?
Oh, it's just like you've just got to plan it out and do it before December hits. It's just write it all out, work out how long it's all going to take, work out whether you can do it or whether you need to push people back or whether you need to find some more work. And then January, like we always talk about, it's just, there's not much happening. There's builders still away. You've sort of got to try and pencil in what you can while you can. And yeah, just be prepared pretty much by, October, November.
It
If you
really
can.
hits, doesn't it? It hits hard, it hits fast. We launched our podcast, the Smile Faith in the Summer series, I think late September, and I'm like, that's probably when you probably need to start thinking about it at that point, at that October point for most people. Anyway, you're from Port Lincoln, which I've just found out is in South Australia. so, so
Not the tropics of the north.
I was like, somewhere I thought Port Lincoln was north. Anyway, here we are. What's life look like? Pretty small town, is it, or what's the town like?
Yeah, so we actually looked the other day, like it sort of fluctuates a little bit, but I think we're sitting around 15,000 people now, small coastal town, big fishing industry, like we're sort of dubbed the seafood capital of Australia. Um, Heavy tuna industry, so bluefin tuna. But yeah, it's just a small coastal town. You're sort of 5 minutes from everywhere. Really cruisy lifestyle, which I love. You can be late, but you're still on time. There's no traffic. Like it's a good lifestyle.
Did
Um,
you grow up there?
yeah, I did. Yeah. So I grew up. Yeah, was born and raised here and have been here ever since. And it's obviously there's times you think about leaving, but now I've got my own kids. It's like why not raise them here? Like we had a great upbringing here and in the surrounding areas. Like it's just perfect for kids. There's a bit more freedom. And they leave school when they're older. They can just walk down to the front jetty and go swimming, or go get ice creams. Or it's a good lifestyle like that.
Swimming and ice cream sounds like a massive vibe for anyone of all ages, to be fair, but especially for kids. Talk us through. So, have you left? Did you do your apprenticeship and stay, or where did you do your apprenticeship at?
Yeah, I did my apprenticeship here. Yep, with a local company who's been operating. I'd say it would almost be one of the longest standing companies, like for the whole town, for the whole town's history. Like it's. Yeah, so I did my apprenticeship there. I was there for, I think I did maybe 8 years there. So I did my apprenticeship, stayed on for another 4, and then yeah, sort of branched out, started doing my own thing.
And what kind of work were you doing as an apprentice?
I was so lucky. Like we did, other than basically air conditioning and solar, we did pretty much everything, and maybe control systems like home automation and stuff like that. But like we did, fishing boats, pumps, water pumps, to commercial to residential. Like it's I was really lucky in that sense, and I don't take it for granted now. And that's sort of what you have to do around here, I guess. Just sort of, you'll get a call from Joe Blow down the road who wants his water pump looked at, or wants a motor on his boat looked at. You can sort of limit yourself pretty quickly just by doing one thing, being where we are. So super lucky in that sense, and that's sort of the way I'm trying to lead us. Like, I don't want to do absolutely everything. Like, you can get pretty messy at times, but now that I've got an apprentice, it's sort of like, right, this is what I learned, this is how I learned really well, and it's reaping the rewards now, being able to say yes to jobs when people ring, and that's sort of the way we want to head. But like I said, not absolutely everything, but have 5 or 6 main things that we do.
The diversification, I don't think anyone will understand that if they come from a city. I feel like I don't understand how much country people, I kind of can get it a little bit from coaching people outside of the city, but growing up and living in a city and starting a business in a city, which was Sydney for me, everything is there. So you got your home automation specialists, you've got like hot water there's so many people, and you don't have to diversify too much. You can specialize because there's other specialists. And yeah, I'm not saying you can, but the country people, you might not be able to find anyone else to do that work. In the city, you turn around a corner and you'll probably find someone. But and that's interesting as well about clients. Where in a city, this is where, and I was going to touch on this later, but bringing it into it now. Coaching for me, typically, that hit it and quit it form of coaching, where you rip and pillage the village for like net profit and like X this and that, seems to, like, you might be able to do that in a city. I hope you don't do that. But I'm talking to the members, not you. But in a country town where there's 15,000 people, bad news travels really, really, really fast. And in a city, there's, I don't know how many people are in Sydney, but like, how many people are in Sydney? I should probably look that up. I'll look it up later. But like, so many people within an hour of your house, where you would probably have 15,000 people within an hour of your house. Like, it's such a different demographic. Talk us through that a little bit, because I can imagine even advertising to a certain extent is relatively futile. It's about word of mouth, reputation, billboard as a sign writing on your car. Like, how do you go about finding work and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Like, early days, it's just, I mean, it always really word of mouth now. Like, we don't advertise as such, especially with the position we're in at the moment. But, early days, it's like family, friends, which is, I guess, kind of normal for most people. But, it's our, like you said, our word of mouth travels so fast. Like, there's a Facebook group, a community Facebook group, which so many people in. It's called Port Lincoln Rant and Rave. Like, if you're in a rant and that, like, you're gone. Like, you don't want to be there. Like, there's people on there just hounding everyone. Like, it's pretty brutal. But, so that's what my main passion is, just taking a lot of pride in what we do. Like, we might take a bit longer than, old mate down the road, but, you're going to get a good product every time.
And what made you, how far out of your apprenticeship did you start your business?
So I would have been maybe 3.5 to 4 years. Like, it's sort of, I come from a different sort of, a lot of business people you talk to, like, yep, it was always my dream. As soon as I finish, I'm going to start my business. That was never my dream. Like, I was sort of always pretty laid back and like, yeah, I'm just going to cruise and, rock up Monday to Friday and do my thing and do it well. And then I feel like I needed a change. So I was, getting a bit caught in the mundane, and I just getting itchy feet. So I actually changed industry for a while. And just jumped on a fishing trawler for, I think I did 2.5 years. And then, I was doing work for my old company, and it just worked out that I was just going to subcontract back to them. It just was going to work out better for both parties. So I did that, and then their work sort of dried up. I was like, well, yeah, let's take the plunge. I've got to do something now. Like, so it just sort of organically sort of grew like that. And then, the fishing became, it wasn't applicable really to funding wise, as you know, I was going away fishing and then people were ringing up like, hey, I want my kitchen done. I'm like, oh, I'm going away. And then the goals changed. I was like, no, let's go. Let's just dive all into it. Because it's sort of at the start, I was going to be like this guy. I was just going to cruise. I was going to subby here and there. I was going to surf. I was just going to do whatever. But I soon realized that I've got the same overheads coming in. I've got the same people. The people are still ringing me. You know, same insurances, all of that stuff, same sort of stresses. I might as well just have a crack. So yeah, here we are 3 years later.
Now, for the fisho people listening, is that what you call yourselves? Fisho?
Fisher, yeah.
Fisho. What would you have you said something different?
Fisherman, yeah.
Fish. Okay, for the
Fisher,
fisher
yeah.
people listening, what's a day look like on a trawler?
So I was on a prawn trawler, and it's all night work. So we steam from where we are, 12 to 14 hours to the fishing grounds, and then you sort of rest that day, and then you're up all night. You know, it's like cruisy. It's not cruisy, like it's full on, but it's like, oh, you only work during the night. It's like, no, we're up at 4 o'clock, we're getting ready for the night, and then you're working all night, then you're packing up in the morning. So sometimes you're doing 16-hour, 17-hour days, 17-hour nights, and then you're away for 2 weeks at a time, a week to 2 weeks, depending on the catch rate. And you only sort of do six trips for the year for that specific industry. So that's where the sell was for me. I was like, this is great. I can come home, I can cruise, I catch up with the family, I can surf, I can work bits and pieces, and then, have a bit of a lifestyle as well as still work away. But then, like I said, it just became null and void in the end.
And what's your favorite seafood?
Sashimi, tuna, bluefin tuna for sure.
So good. Yeah.
Love it. Like I could eat raw tuna for days.
Classic choice. Now, so you started your business, and then obviously things grew. Where are you at now? Just for the listeners, what size company are you? Who do you employ? What do you got?
Yeah, so at the moment it's just me and our apprentice Isaac, who's just gone second year. We did have a tradesman, but he left, I would say maybe 8 months ago. And yeah, this month is a year since we've been looking for a full-time tradesman. So not having any luck on that front, but yeah, we're just gonna slow our progress down a little bit, I guess, and just grow internally. And if someone comes along, great, we're gonna take him, and see where we end up.
Such a hard dynamic for everyone hiring in this. I heard good things about Seek, maybe 3 or 4 good things. No, I lied, probably 5 or 6 good things, which I've never heard before. If you had asked me 6 months ago if I believed in Seek, I would have said no. No, definitely not. Yeah. But then I've heard 5 or 6, but they've actually been from Melbourne, Central Coast, Cairns sort of vibe.
We did Seek for 5 months. And then I was like, I'm not getting anything out of it. Like I was just international crew, wanting to come over. So yeah, chatting with Cam, he's like, just give it away, have a break for a bit. And then I went back, I think maybe 2 months ago, just for 1 month, like up the subscription as high as I sort of could, just have one last crack, just to know I've tried everything. And then, still got nothing from it. So I probably won't ever go down that. I won't say never ever, but like, it's not something I'm going to go back to anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm just going to read through a list of potential ways to hire. If anyone's listening and want this list, just message us and we'll get to you. But potential ways to hire, keep being active in the community, like meet people, gym, surf, ride, kids sport, church, whatever. Always check your existing network. Always check your existing company culture. Ask your staff if they know anyone. Post something on business Facebook, personal Facebook, Insta. Posting community pages, the rant place. Don't get ranted at.
Right.
Add on Seek or Indeed, ask a wholesaler, an email marketing campaign to your existing clients. I've seen that work in an admin role, not a tradie role. Call builders, electricians, plumbers, any other trade. For rural people, advertise in cities. Target TAFE, have a good social media presence, Google reviews. I don't like this one, but offer a potential sign-on bonus, ski change, as they call it. Give you a jet ski, free jet ski with every tradie purchase, and Don't do that. If you can't find someone, create them. Apprentice, which is what you're doing. Offer a dual trade enticement, aircon, solar, home automation, when that eventually becomes a trade. Poaching, which is potentially frowned upon in some cultures, subcultures. Find a subby, engage a recruiter, can't stand that one. Labor hire or use a subcontractor. But it's like the more you get outside of the city, the more that half of that list washes off on the prawn trawler, speaking your language, just like washes off into the abyss. And there's literally nothing. I'd be shocked if there's anything outside of that list you could do. So how have you found that? Like, it feels, I'm not gonna say it's hopeless, but like you've obviously stayed positive throughout the process. It's been hard. So you've got this work coming in that you can't find anyone to help you do it.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, to be honest. Like, I think it's probably maybe a year and a half ago I messaged you and I said, right, I want to be off the tools in roughly 2 years. And I said, can we do it? And he said, yep, let's go. This is what we need to do. And then it was sort of, we were rolling in the right direction. Like, I got admin help. It's all sort of falling into place. And then we sort of, lost a tradesman. And then it honestly took me a while to get my head around the fact that it's not going to happen as quick as I want it to happen. And, I'm sort of an impatient kind of guy. Sometimes I'm like, right, once I get my mindset on something, I want to do it, and I want to do it now. So, chatting with Cam and catching up and just saying, like, let's just pull back and just relax, service your main clients well, and just grow organically through that. So, we're sort of in a position now, we don't take new clients on. We can't service the people that we can't service everyone. We're just looking after our main builders, people that have used us before, and just looking after them as well as we can. Because I sort of lost my way a little bit I got too focused on trying to get more work in. Maybe I wasn't looking after them as well. We never lost any clients, I don't think, like none I can think of off the top of my head. So I just sort of had to go back to communicating well and doing the small things well. But yeah, it definitely took me a while to get my head around the fact that, it's gonna be a slower burn, which is now that I've got my head around it, it's fine. Like, it is what it is,
Yeah, especially when you think your apprentice is when they become a tradie, your life changes forever. You just got to handcuff them to Port Lincoln. They can't leave.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Don't worry.
And
Don't
how
tell
did
me.
you go? How did you go about picking an apprentice? Because there's a lot of pressure on the prodigal son.
Yeah. It was honestly just sort of fell into place. Like, we had trialed another kid we were sort of keen to give a job to, but we weren't quite ready then. We were sort of waiting for our main, like a big project, our radiology clinic to kick off fully, and then we're going to invest in an apprentice. And he went elsewhere. Like, he wasn't going to wait around. That's fine. He's got a job now and we see him around. But yeah, it's funny, like, a company we do work for, the co-owner, he reached out one day and said, oh, my son's thinking of apprenticeship. Can you give me some work experience? Yada, yada. And I said, they had some work for me to do. I actually needed a hand. I said, well, can you come this day? I actually need a hand to do this stuff for you. And he rocked up. And it would have been within like the first hour. I was like, this kid's got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just tell when people got it. He was super quiet, super polite, like really good kid, but was just reading the play. And I was like, have you done any of this before? He's like, no. I was like, all right, no worries. And then, yeah, I just offered him the job. I was like, I've got a job opening up. Do you want it? He's like, yeah, let's do it. And, like, he finished year 12, finished his last exam, started the next day. He's like, yeah, let's work. And didn't want to go to schoolies or anything like that. It was just like, yeah, let's go. So, yeah, it's we've sort of landed on our feet there for sure.
Shout out to, I had the same experience with my friend Chris Yarrow. Shout out to GoFlow Plumbing. And he was like, you got to employ my cousin Mikey. He's a weapon. And shout out to Mikey. He works at Clipsal in their instrumentation now, or used to. Can't remember. I don't know what he's doing exactly now. Maybe that. But first day, first hour, we're at this commercial cafe, and he's coming up with ideas better than mine. And I'm just like, this kid. But he grew up working on boats, like super handy dad. But that's cool. But he just had what you just said. I'm like, that sounds like Mikey. Just picked it up straight away. anyone that worked with him was blown away. If he was, my builder friends would call and they'd be like, "Can we have Mikey for a day?" They're doing concrete pour, they're doing framing, they're doing, those people that can walk on trusses, like they're just
Yeah.
like they're just well balanced, talented. They understand things. They're passing you things before you even know it. They're picking up potential issues.
I think
It's
it's the understanding is the massive one, like you said there. Like there's not been a task that we've set him to do, and he hasn't been able to do it, and he's got like a pretty long leash. Like when it's just me and him now, it's like, right, I'm sort of letting you go. I've got to pull him back every now and then, but it's like, man, it's the understanding side of it. He just understands, so the product is good and he can do it.
Yeah, and he's obviously learning from the master, the Port
Of
Lincoln
course,
master.
of course,
Yeah,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
don't sell yourself short there. And talk to us. I know you put a post up on Insta, and you were talking about because it's something coming from a city with apprentices and TAFE, and even my experience of TAFE, I just went there a day a week for a term, and then I had holidays and a day a week. But it's not until you encounter block TAFE, if you're a bit removed from a city or a TAFE, that now you're doing week blocks or whatever, which is totally different. Like it's one of our questions when you're getting to know a member for us, because the block TAFEs, like it's a different play. When you lose an apprentice, I remember on Wednesday sometime just going like, "Oh, there's no apprentice. This sucks. I carry my own tools. This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
Kind of like. But when you lose someone for a week, or you lose multiple people for the week, it can really throw jobs out and structures out. So obviously you're block TAFE, I'm assuming, or he's block TAFE.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
and you wouldn't have any context of my day release TAFE
No,
either. So
no. I mean, only through like talking to other people about it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, basically, I put up a post. It's just something that got to me. Just feel like we get forgotten about over here. In the country. Like, we're not super far removed from a city. We're a 40-minute flight to Adelaide, but it's like a 7-hour drive. So, we are, but we aren't. If you know what I mean. So, it was just a bugbear of mine that came up. I didn't even realise it was happening. That Isaac, our apprentice, was scheduled to go to TAFE in Adelaide for 10 weeks for the year. But the government are only going to support him for travel allowance for 8 times. And it's like, I just didn't understand. I still can't wrap my head around why. Like, it doesn't matter, over the time of his apprenticeship, he's probably going to go less in his last year now, that means, but who keeps that money? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect them to be, making bank when they're over there. I just don't think it's fair. Like, he's got kids in his class, or Pete, sorry, I shouldn't say kids, but, people in his class who are doing week blocks, but they're in Adelaide, they just get to go home. He's got to find accommodation. He's out of pocket, whereas they're not. So I just think it just doesn't align properly, I don't think. And like I said, I'm not asking for them to be, rolling in it, making bank while they're away, but I just don't think they should be out of pocket. So, yeah, that was basically my main bugbear. And, I just thought if I could voice it and get the word out there, then I don't know, see what we could do.
Well, it's a discussion topic that I would never think about, because I would never have to personally deal with it. And I think it's when you are so removed from something, or when you just think like TAFE, going to TAFE once a week, that's just what you do. It's normal. Then you hear about block release, then you hear about, well, I got to travel, just 7 hours drive or a 1 hour flight to get to a block week of TAFE, then come home. So how did that go? Did you get any responses, or did people feel ya? Was it a bit
Yeah,
of,
the responses on the post they were huge. Like, there was not, and it wasn't just electrical. It was nurses. It was all sorts of trades. But yeah, we had our local ABC reach out, so we've just done an interview with them, and they've done an article on it as well, which came out 2 weeks ago, I think. And there were some negative comments or sort of one sort of negative comment on that, like, oh, every reasonable employer should cover the costs of their their apprentices' travel and allowance, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, that's great. I'm going to pick up the slack for him. But it's also, it's like training an apprentice. There's times you can't charge them, and if we're paying all these extra overheads as well, it's going to inevitably push our prices up, and it's going to affect everyone. Like, it doesn't just affect us. You know what I mean? Like, Like, okay, now I've got to charge an extra X amount per hour. That's going to affect Jan down the road. Like, it's not just us that it affects.
Yeah, especially when they're covering 8, not 10. Like it shouldn't be. It's not. You're not asking
No.
for that much. You're not asking for that much difference. I think it's just bringing awareness to it. It's really interesting. I've been thinking a lot about it lately because it's funny that 99 people can support you and then one person voices otherwise, but somehow that person is the loudest voice.
Hmm.
That negative criticism. So I'll just encourage you, man. Just like you bring an awareness to it. It's unless you've run a business, you won't know how hard it is.
But it's
And
funny,
once you,
I won't name the names, but this guy is an owner of a business who employs apprentices. It's like, why wouldn't you just want the best for your apprentices? You know, it just sort of sheds light on who he actually is as a person. So I took it for a grain of salt. I'm not going to write back. I'm not that type of person. Like, I'm doing my own thing. He's doing his, whatever.
yeah, it's also a stage of business too. Like there's a stage of business, like if you've got 10 to 15 staff making $1 million a year, there's no question if that's a good decision or not. Like, yeah, you can absorb, like when your business gets to a certain stage and size, you can absorb a lot.
Mm.
But it's, you feel the speed bumps a lot more in a Hyundai Excel. When you're in a 4-wheel drive, you don't even feel the speed bumps, Did I make $900,000 or $1 million? Like both good things.
Yeah.
But when you're fighting for air in an Excel, like bumping around, like it's a different beast. I think it's really dependent on, yeah, what stage of business you're at, like what stage of life you're at, how long the business has been operating for. There's so many variable factors, and they can't work against the apprentice. So it's really really interesting. But yeah, and what's your take like to someone wanting to? Because I think apprenticeships, my first hire was an apprentice and I back it. I was like, that was a good decision for the type and style of work that I did. Plus, I've been referencing this a lot lately. How old are you?
31.
31. So we're the same age. No.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty much.
But there's this Simpsons episode where Bart runs away from home and Mr. Burns puts him in this really tight suit just to try and give him a hunchback. And he goes, soon you'll have a mighty hump. And he's literally like, I'll have to put a photo of it on Insta. But he's literally like hunchbacking. And I think the metaphor for me is when you are a weapon on the tools, to get someone next to you that is the person that Isaac you say is, to get him seeing you, seeing your communication, your work ethic, your style of work, you're over and above, you're 1%ers, you're the business owner. He thinks what he's seeing is normal. So he's going to raise the bar on that. And I think when you can recreate yourself, especially if you're on the tools, an apprentice hire is so critical if you're doing the right kind of work, not if you're changing an isolator, of course. But I think that's such an underrated part of the journey. And I think most people that become weapon tradies have had or learnt from a weapon tradie, or they've had a really good training or teacher. Very similar to the Karate Kid, right? Mr. Miyagi, Daniel-san, same. What's your take on that? Because you might have wanted a tradie, but your best efforts have been thwarted, or you had one, but now you got Isaac. What's your take on the apprentice hire?
Yeah, 100%. Like I sort of had to direct our business in a different direction. Like I come from while I say we did everything, we were pretty reactive, service and maintenance based, and I get all excited when something's gone wrong and I'm in there, trying to fix it. I don't know what it is, but we hit this, a customer of ours put in a star dropper into their mains cable, and I got all jittery, and I said to Isaac, yes, let's go, here we go. That's just my background when I'm under the pump. But I sort of had to shift our business a little bit out of that service and maintenance direction because of where we are. So chasing the projects a little bit more, because then I can leave him to do a little bit more and sort of get a bit of my, office time back. But, I feel like you just need the right one. Like, I don't think you should wait too long. Like, I feel like if I kick the can, if Isaac was no good and I kicked the can down the road too long, like I would be so stressed out right now. Like, it'd be a completely different story, a completely different outlook right now to where I am. Yeah, I feel like you can probably, like your 3-month probation, you should be able to tell whether they're going to pick it up or not. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, because maybe looking back, I probably wasn't that good until maybe 6 to a year, like.
Yeah,
So
I feel the same about myself, actually. I was a massive kook. Like, I'd never set foot on a building site before. And I'm saying I'm self-appointed, self-anointed pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna do a switchboard as neat as Willman or some of those guys
Yeah,
post
yeah,
commercial
yeah.
boards up now. Like
There
that's
is.
probably not my personality type. But I can employ people that do that.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
for
good.
sure. Sure.
But yeah, I feel like, but then I think back and I'm like, I think at 8 to 12 months, I was like, holy crap. After 6 months, I really picked it up.
Mm.
And then it was just game on from that point. But like, I often wonder about that first 3 months, what I would have looked like if I employed myself.
Yeah. I would have been
Yeah.
horrified, I reckon. But yeah, I think there's a point you can sort of think back. I don't remember obviously the exact time, but it just clicks. Something clicks in you, and you go,
Mm.
right, this is what I want to be doing. This is where I'm going. Like I'm getting things now. Like I think maybe for me it was probably when I first started TAFE a little bit as well. So I was very practical based, and then seeing it theoretically, I was like, okay, right, this is what's happening. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And talk to us about, I want to touch on a couple of things. You mentioned radiology clinic before. Um, that's a, that's a beast.
Yeah,
How,
yeah.
how'd you go about, I mean, firstly getting that work and then quoting it? You got a bit of help from Cam quoting that one?
Yeah, 100%. Like, reached out to Cam heaps, and it's funny. Like, it's sort of like a say yes and work it out later kind of scenario. Like the owners of the radiology clinic, Paul and Linda, shout out, great people. Like they're involved with our footy club. They're obviously sonographers, so that Paul was our sonographer for both of our kids, and my wife Annie taught one of their kids at school. So they just reached out one day. Like they'd rang me to do something at their house previously, I think, but I couldn't get there. And yeah, they just reached out and said, "Hey, we're doing this radiology clinic. Would you be interested?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then they're like, "Right, the Philips were the manufacturer of the MRI and the CT machines. Philips are coming over. We've got this building lined up. Can you meet us down here?" I walked in. This building took major renovations. I walked in, I was like, there's no way this is going to be a radiology clinic. Like, no way. And then walked around with the Philips guys. They're like, oh, you just need like isolators here, isolators there. They roughly draw this much, whatever. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Doesn't sound quite right. And then, yeah, the more I dug into it, I was like, holy shit, this is massive. Like, new consumer mains, 500 amp switchboards. Like, I was just like, whoa, this is a lot bigger than I sort of thought it was going to be. Like I sort of had an idea what we're going to have to do, and then obviously all the Medilec gear and body protected areas. But yeah, it was a cool project. It really set us up, like. But before that, I think that landed about 200K that quote, and then previous to that, we would have done like 30,000 to 40, maybe 50, resi quote. So it was a big step, and it went really well, to be honest. Like Jared, our tradie, was on it the whole time, absolute gun, just took everything in his stride. It was pretty chaotic, like there was plans, but I'd done the electrical plan myself. It wasn't like an engineer had come in and done everything. Like that's just what happens here in Port Lincoln. Like it just seems to be that unless it's someone coming from the city building this thing, it's like, oh yeah, can you do this for us and design it? So, we're pretty proud of it, to be honest. Like it's pretty cool. It's a major thing for our community. Like I didn't really realize the impact it was going to have, but we went to go to the opening, and me and Annie were in the car, and I was like, oh, just be, a few tradies here and there, whatever. Walked in, this place is packed, like packed. There's politicians there, there's doctors from everywhere. I was like, oh wow, like, and then the politician got up, gave a big speech, and how much impact it was in the community. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of, and it really set us up, to be honest.
That's so cool. I was talking to someone the other day, and because my theory was they were a bit worried about this quote, and my theory was like how many phone calls do you reckon you'd have to make to get that right answer? And they said three, and I'm like, I reckon it's two. I reckon no matter what you go through electrically or quoting wise, I reckon if you scroll through your phone book, you pick the person you thought you would knew, thought who would know the answer, and you called them. If they didn't, they would know someone who knows the answer. Like I reckon there's max two phone calls. I think once you do a few projects like that, it might be outside of your comfort zone. It might be going from 5 grand to 20 grand or 20 to 50, or in this case, 50 to 200. I think once you do it, the confidence you feel from executing something that was outside of your comfort zone or outside of your knowledge space even, or outside of what you might have thought was even possible, and you execute, I think the pride is huge, and it's a turning point. Those jobs can be a turning point in the company, if not just for morale only. How did you feel about that job looking back?
Yeah, yeah, massive. Like so many learnings from it, you know, like that was easily, even as a tradesman, that was my biggest project. Like I've done commercial factory upgrades and stuff like that before, but that was, you know, something I've never ever dealt with. And being so specific with MRI machines and, you know, medical equipment, it was like, that's the only MRI we have within like 300 kilometers of here. Like you know, so yeah, it was so good to be a part of, and just to, like I said, lots of learnings. Like I learned how I'd manage a project differently. You know, I was a bit of all over the place and put better systems in place. But, you know, just to look back on it now and that we actually did it and it was fine. Like I was so stressed out at the time, you know, like I said, say yes, work it out later. And I was like, fuck, are we going to be able to do it? And then we did it, you know, you just do it. You just work out ways to do it. Like you said, you make a few phone calls, chat to Cam, lean on a few crew, make sure you're across the standard, and it's electrical at the end of the day. It's all the same principles. It's just follow the rules and make it neat and tidy, and, you know, you get a good product at the end.
Yeah, and if you're listening, don't quote radiology clinics the same as a standard resi place. So,
No way.
but that's cool. I love, because I personally had I've never wired one, or quoted one actually, but I know Cam's had a lot of experience. So how much did you have to lean on him during that quoting process? Was it a lot? Was it a
Yeah,
little bit?
it was just the clarifications for a lot of little things. You know what the standards are like. They're pretty broad, and then you can sort of make it up the rest, and just making sure we're putting things in the right place. And yeah, we were catching up quite often. So if I had questions, I was just able to ask, which is just gold. Like just to have that community to reach out to, and, you know, listening back to old sessions and just taking bits and pieces of information that I need, and then, you know, going back to it as well. Like there was a couple sessions on it, so it was like, right, I remember them talking about this, I'm going to go back and listen to that again. And it's just so invaluable, you know, like just having people to lean on for something like that, it makes it all feel okay. Like,
Yeah, it
yeah,
makes you feel normal.
yeah,
But also just, yeah, you can do that. Just do this and follow this and do that, because it's even yeah, there's a few guys in our program that I mean, everyone's got their skill set and they're good at something. That's the coolest thing about a community, that I might not know how to do that, but someone else does, but they might not know how to do what I do well. And everyone does their thing well, whether that's off-site in the office or a leadership or a motivation, or it's on-site in something. Oh, no, like if you're wiring that chassis board, start here and do this. Like
mm,
everyone's got their sort of experience, and I love that. It's super cool. So even talk to us about through the projects, because projects are notoriously, I feel like when people first start quoting projects, they either quote way too low or way too high. There's usually not like, there's
yeah,
usually you're way like, usually it should be 40 grand and it's 20, or you've quoted 60 and it's 40. And I think it's a skill set to learn where your numbers are. And that for me is front costing and back costing. And you've got to, I said this the other day in the podcast, I feel quoting is a little bit like a grand final. Like you got to lose one to win one. Like
yeah.
you got to lose one to win many. Like you've got to make a mistake and feel the pain and sit in the pain, but everything will be okay. And how did you go about learning to quote the bigger jobs? Was it like, because you don't normally get that incremental 5 grand to 7 grand to 9 grand to 11, although you wish it would
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Like, how
yeah.
did you go about that?
Yeah, so I guess it was just like, I don't like to say stop, don't be too nice, but that's kind of what it is, you know, like take the emotion out of it. It is, you're there to make money, they're there to get a good product. So, you know, I feel like you, when you sort of first start, you're the nice guy, you know, you're like, oh yeah, I'll be able to do it for this, be able to do it for that. And then you sort of realize it's like, no, you can't. Like, you've got to be a bit, you've just got to know your numbers really, and just stop being so nice about it. Like your numbers are your numbers, and that's it. So, you know, that's probably my main advice is like, just, yeah, don't stray away from your numbers. Like they say that they are for a reason. Just because someone wants you to do a bit cheaper, don't do it cheaper. Don't be the nice guy. It's not going to get you anywhere. Like, yes, it might get you another job, but you'll go broke doing it. So, you know, it's a short and slippery slope, I think, for that aspect. But just a lot of trial and error, but I was sort of lucky in the sense that I've been a part of coaching pretty much from the start. So if I've ever got any questions, I can just reach out. And then obviously like it's just trial and error, working things out, just tweaking things slightly. Like it's not never a major overhaul. Like you've been in the industry a long time, you've sort of got a pretty good idea of how long things are going to take. And then, as the old saying goes, don't quote it for yourself doing it. Quote it for, an average tradie doing it, and you're generally okay.
Yeah, and what's the competition like down there? Is there someone you quote against regularly? Like, did you have anyone quoting against you at that radiology clinic, or is it pretty much like people have their clients and stick to it?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky in that aspect. Like there's some builders who reach out to a few of us to do the quotes. But our main builder, as far as I know, they don't get other quotes. And the radiology clinic, yeah, there was no one else up against it. So, it's good. I like it. It's great. You sort of 100% quote win, but every now and then it's also good to have someone quote it just to see sort of where you're at, where they're at. Like we know our numbers are good, but what are other people doing? And yeah, but we are lucky in that sense that our word of mouth and our relationships have just got us that far that, we've got a good trust and a good relationship with our clients that they don't feel the need to go anywhere else. They know we're not out there to rip people off. We communicate well. If something's not right, we're going to bring it up. Yeah, so very lucky in that aspect that it seems that most people have got their niches, or not their niches, but their clients, like I'm not getting phone call from, someone's other electrical company's clients trying to get me to go do the work for cheap or anything like that. It's just, you've got your word of mouth and you've got your good clients, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you say luck, but what luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And so I feel like with business, it's people are really employing you,
Yeah.
across like unless you're at the beach or but like people are employing you until they're employing the brand. They're employing one or the other. So, the way you carry yourself around the community, the way you walk through the main street with your kids, the way like people like buying from people that they like, and when you can combine kindness with knowledge of numbers, I think that's when your business can blow up in the nicest way possible. Because that's it, right? Now I can communicate from an educated standpoint of, oh no, that's what it cost me. And no one's, I just think like our theory, get a market wage, what you could earn for someone else, and a net profit of between 20 and 35%. I don't think anyone on earth is going to argue with a business owner making a 20% margin. Like that's not a thing at all. No one would expect you to be doing it for 8 or 6. It's too tight. Like 20 to 35 is super fair for everyone involved, and people have to pay someone, so that they might as well pay you. So I think
Yeah,
it's super
that's it.
cool.
No,
And
I'm a strong believer. I am a strong believer, but going back to the luck thing, that you make your own luck, I guess. Like, if I was a dickhead, there's no way any of these opportunities would be happening. You know what I mean? Like it's a small town, people talk, as we've said. Um, so you do make your own luck. I definitely believe that.
yeah, and do you think business is feels a bit like an anointed journey for people? Like you get the right opportunity at the right time, or sort of yeah. How have you found the growth of the business? Do you feel like the phone rings, or you got to chase, or you get that job and the next job? Like, yeah, how have you found the business journey as a whole?
As a whole, like I said, I came from a company that was always busy. We never had like a day where we got to knock off early because it was, like it was like, oh, boys go home, we haven't got anything to do. Like there's always something to do. I guess I took that for granted a little bit. Like I'm going to go out my own. I'm going to be busy. Watch me go. And then I was like, okay, this is going to be a little bit harder than I thought. We're going to have to grind a little bit here. And then we got busy, and then we hired. I went bang, hired, and I was like, were we busy enough? Maybe not, but we made it work. I was sort of got an idea of how hard it is to get good tradies. Jared came along, absolute guru. And then we got really quiet again. And yeah, we were just sort of up and down. It was sort of the first 2 years. And then we sort of hit, year 3, and it's just sort of organically gone by itself now. Like it's, the phone is ringing, but like I said, we're knocking people back now. And But yeah, definitely went through some tough times, sort of, a year and a half, 2 years in for sure. Being like being stressed, busy stress is fuck so much better than being quiet stress. Like I don't care what anyone says. Like quiet stress, financial stress is the worst, and it eats you up big time.
Yeah, at least with busy, you've got options. Like you can work longer. You can hire a tradie. You can get an apprentice. You can work weekends. You can like get some contractors. You got at least options, and it's not. But being quiet is, yeah. I reckon the three hardest times of my business journey is being too quiet, which has to be the worst. Or you put financial stress up there in there too. Like owing people money sucks. You'd put being too busy in there as well. And I think you'd put letting people go. Like there's probably four of the hardest times in business. And if you've been around long enough, you've probably experienced all four, I would say. And I think as well, too much of there's too much emphasis on what you can accomplish in 1 year in from what I see on Instagram, and
Mm.
not enough emphasis on what you can accomplish in 10 years. So I think when you're playing a 10-year hand, you play it a lot differently to playing a 1 year hand. When you're playing a 1 year hand, you got to maximize the money and like take advantage of people and go turbo and ring 400 people. And I often think with our Sparky Coach journey, like I'm so proud of how we've done it. We haven't pushed it. We just keep refining the product.
Mm.
And I reckon I'm on the last 15% of the product, which I'll probably always be on the last
You
15.
always find something.
I
Yeah.
always be on that bit, but I'm really proud of that. And that's one thing. That's one thing you take away from like years in business, that it's a chicken or egg situation. Whatever, you can hustle, you can get work, all this kind of stuff, but everything's irrelevant if your product sucks.
The product
Like,
doesn't lie. The product does not lie, and you get found out real quick, real quick. Like
yeah,
you can bullshit your way for a little bit, but if your product's shit, see you later.
yeah, and that's so important, and especially and take that's important anywhere, but arguably more so in a country town, because that's you're only as good as your last job. You're only as good as your last quote. You're only as good as the last job that had a mistake. Like people remember that stuff. So keep an eye on the product. And yeah, and I'm super proud of your journey, and I think you carry yourself really well. And I was pumped to get you on the pod to hear a bit of a rural take on it, because I think a lot of the guys are probably from a city or a country town that you would consider a big city. So it's
Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
yeah, or close, like even the guys for in the country towns, they're an hour. Like a lot of them are a small drive to a city, or like within
Mm.
a couple of hours. So to get someone on that's a big drive, I want to ask as well, how do you navigate the wholesalers? Is there a wholesaler in town? And do you
Yeah,
get
we've got three.
drops?
We've
Oh,
got
cool. Yeah.
yeah, we've got three, and like it's five. We're 5 minutes from all of them basically. But they're awesome. Like you, same thing. Small town, you've got to be good. Um, they're all really good. We only sort of mainly use two out of the three. At the start, I was sort of using two, pretty heavy, and then it just got too confusing for me. Like invoices come from here, here, and here. I was sort of learning everything. I was like, picked one. Been pretty solid with one for probably majority of our journey, and they're weapons. Like they just go above and beyond. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, I want this exhaust fan. We haven't got it, but here have three different options. It's not just like, oh, we haven't got it, order it in. It's like just those little things that help. But yeah, there's three here, and they're all really good. So we're lucky in that sense.
So good. Now, as you know how we do things here, if you had one final sign off, if you had, I hope you should be prepared for this.
I'm
I
prepared.
don't feel bad about this. You
I'm
should be
prepared.
you should be well prepared. If you had one shot, one opportunity to bless the people into their day, week, month, year, what would you say?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Like we're talking about those quiet times before. I nearly threw in the towel. I was really, really close. I was looking for an out. Um, yeah, if I can just give any advice at all, it's just stick with it. Like I remember you saying, "There's no plan B." Make sure there's no plan B, and that got me through, man. It was like little things with you and Cam. It was just like no, let's make it happen. Let's tweak things. Make it happen, and bang, we're back on track. Like it was a dark time for sure, but that's my advice. Just don't give up, unless of course it's a complete mess and you're completely done. But if you're looking for an out, just to try and maybe get away from doing the hard things, then yeah, just stick with it. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, a lot of people told me it's the first 2 years are the hardest, and that so far has been true. And then, I hear like you and Josie talking about 5 years, and then it's sort of light at the end of that tunnel as well. It's different challenges, So yeah, that's definitely held me in good stead. It's like, yeah, just don't give up. And going through those quiet times, it's probably a good thing. Like, obviously I'd rather not have it, but I wouldn't change it now, because now when we're quiet, I'm like, I know what I need to do. The world's not gonna end. It's all okay. We're gonna get through it financially. So, I definitely feel like that sort of shaped where we are today. Definitely, like, you know, drove pretty hard to get work in, and yeah. Sorry, rambled on a bit, but yeah, just don't give up. Keep at
No,
it.
I love that. Don't give up. It's a great message, and you're a testament to good people and good men everywhere, Billy. We appreciate you and we appreciate what you bring to the table in our community. So thank you for everything you do, and best days are ahead, no doubt. And when I hang up this call, don't hang up, because you need to load it out. So
All
thanks
right.
everyone for listening. And this
Thank
is Billy
you.
Lawrence from Lawrence Electrical. Give him a shout out on Insta and say hi. And he's the sexiest man in Port Lincoln, self-appointed, self-anointed. Thanks for
Thanks,
hanging out.
bro. Appreciate you,
See you
man.
soon. Bye.